I am Chiru Bhavansikar, for the founder of Arhasi. We were like founded in early 2023, like March, um, literally based out of like Frisco, Texas. We're a Dallas-based organization. Proud to say that. Considering like all tech companies want to be based out of like California or like Austin, like we decided to be here. um, we always felt that region will not restrict our growth, considering like there are so many companies that came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, Dell became successful from like Round Rock, which wasn't even considered like a tech capital back in those days. So it's possible if we really want to do something, like, it doesn't matter where you're based, especially post-COVID world. It's about doing the right things. So we started with our objective, that is AI with integrity. So why we did that was, when we looked at early 2023, there was a lot of enthusiasm for ChatGPT that came out sometime in, I think, November 2022, if my memory is right. There was a lot of enthusiasm among organizations, how cool that is. But then there were concerns about enterprise adoption. What would it take to be address transparency in AI? What does it mean to be like security in AI? What does it mean to be governance in AI? And how do I really bring this like very quickly to enterprise adoption and showcase business results? We said that that's what we want to really address, and that's how we basically uh, went and we trademarked AI with integrity. So my background, I basically worked as like a director of Google AI practice at PricewaterhouseCoopers prior to coming to Arhasi. And then I was also with Deloitte in their Google AI and data practice um, prior to PricewaterhouseCoopers. And I was responsible for uh, building out and taking like Google AI solutions to some of the largest enterprise clients, including Sabre. Um, and and I did this both in the United States as well as in Canada. I also spent some time actually working as a consultant for Google, especially transforming their Google Cloud partner initiatives, as well as like establishing market competitiveness in early 2017, when Google Cloud was trying to actually make an inroads into the enterprise space. Saying that my journey has been quite interesting as a tech entrepreneur. Um, it's no different in one sense. Like, when I look at myself as an entrepreneur, when I wake up in the morning, I really don't see myself as an entrepreneur. It's no different to actually stepping out and like for our jobs and build our careers and solve business problems. Um, the only thing is, like, you're doing all these things almost with you know no guarantees and you know and no income. Now, I think it's quite interesting situation to be in. And when we get into this kind of mode, you are like out there um, making an impact to the world outside. And the only way you can really create an impact is by what you as not just as a person, you and your company can actually bring value to the clients. um, who you worked with in the past and who understands the nature of business, even if they themselves are not entrepreneurs. Maybe they are like sales managers, sales leaders, or maybe they are like product leaders. So they can understand the nuances and the challenges, and that they would be very happy to help you. If someone hasn't been in that, hasn't been an entrepreneur, or hasn't actually been in a leadership role, it's very probably they will not relate to you to a large degree of what you're trying to do. So you want to tread that path carefully. Remember that you'll be wearing at least 10 plus hats. You are your you are the legal person for your company. You are the CEO. You are the CTO. You are the salesperson. You are an accounting person. You are the HR person. You run payrolls. You are probably like everything that you can think of in a company. It's you, right? So you're wearing 10 plus hats, doing a lot of things. If you think that I'll start a company and I can completely focus on like, I love technology and just I will do tech work, then you need to find another co-founder who can do everything else for you, right? So you spend a lot more time between product and everything else. So because also if it is your vision and it's your idea, so only you can understand. So you cannot let product go either. The focus on product, the focus on your service, you have to keep it 100% while you have to do everything else, because no one else understands your idea or vision to the degree that you understand it. Okay, and make it a point that you can impress your prospects and customers like no one else. That is like an absolute must to make a difference. Now coming to adaptability, what does really means is you want to be flexible with your pitch. What that really means is it doesn't mean that you're changing your idea. It doesn't mean that you're changing the value, but it's about connecting the same idea and the value you provide in the way a customer is expecting to solve his problem. That's what it means by being flexible with your pitch. And you want to be flexible with your go-to market. That really means here is my target market. I always thought like this market would need this, but as you start touching that market, probably you are not getting much success there. Now you should be able to take that same idea and figure out where else your idea can resonate better, and be able to find that market and touch the waters of that market and then see how your idea resonates there. So you should be able to do that. And this drift or shift that you're going to take, this needs to happen in like probably months, not years. You should be able to change your product direction anytime. You think one thing of what is the right way to actually turn your idea into a product. You have a direction towards that and you start working towards that. Now the idea remains the same, but because the how you're going to connect to the customer is going to be different, you may have to change your product direction quickly to cater to the needs of the client. Your idea is only as long as valuable as it's validated by the customer. Otherwise, you can have a fantastic idea, it has no purpose. Or maybe you're ahead of the game or you're late to the game. Only the customers really can validate your idea. So you want to be able to prototype a feature in weeks. This is a very important concept. It's like someone asks for some new feature and you should be able to basically create that feature in weeks. Okay, so we're not saying that it's a production rollout of the feature, but you're going to prototype that feature and get feedback from the person who asked and go back and see whether that even what is the market validity for that specific feature, and be able to actually iterate on that quickly. So what this really means is adaptability ultimately comes down to get feedback from customers. Your customers are going to tell you what they want. Your customers are going to tell you what market wants. listen to your customers. Comes to resiliency, there are two ways the company survives. Either you have to sell or you have to borrow. So which basically means sell and make money or borrow money from somewhere. Okay, so the best position to be in is to sell and make money. So most important thing besides product is sales. You want to be able to sell your product. This is nothing about like techniques or marketing or anything like that. It's about getting your message out that there is some value in what you're doing. Okay, and be able to prove and stand by that. That's what sales is all about. And you should be ready to embrace competition. However brilliant idea that you have, someone else will probably have something very similar, and someone else probably has more money, more capital to work with. Someone else may actually go to market before you. So competition is inevitable. I actually went for some VC meet just to explore in the beginning of my journey. What do VCs really look for? And someone asked a question to the VC saying that um, I have this brilliant idea, um, and unfortunately, I cannot share everything with you um, because, like, I don't know what you're going to do with that idea. So, but how do we go about uh, having discussions and, like, discuss about funding? And the VC's response was, he doesn't care about ideas at all. All he cares about is execution. So the only way you can stand out in competition is it's not your idea. It's about how you take your idea and make it work. That's what differentiates you from your competition. One more thing to remember, which is also my personal experience, is your failure comes from the closest that you're working with. Okay, so what this really means is it's completely unanticipated. Someone who is probably closer to you actually will be responsible for your failure. It could be someone who you completely depend on, probably like resigns from the company. They may find a better opportunity. Okay, or some partner who's been giving you like the most revenues, he probably disappears from your radar and like starts working with someone else. Or one of the clients that probably has been validating your product, their budgets are cut, and they probably don't want to support you anymore, although you have done the best job. So be prepared for that, and especially it comes from the people who you most depend on. Okay, so how do you get out of that? Even last minute, the minute before that happened, is your past. You have to focus only on the present and the future. Past has no relevance. You be ready to bounce back at any point of time. And also always remember that ideas are almost worthless unless they are put to use. One final thing that's important to remember is tenacity. Tenacity is, I cannot undermine your that focus on sales and marketing. It's extremely important along with the product, not undermining the product at all. You can have fantastic sales and marketing, and if you don't have a great product, you don't go too far. You may have a fantastic product, but you don't have sales and marketing, you can't go too far. So you really have to balance those really well. And you want to constantly innovate. And what this really means is you need capital, and you don't have capital, right? Where does that come from? Now, sales. You want to be able to sell to create capital, or borrow, of course, and then like use that capital to innovate. If you don't innovate, someone else will innovate. And probably someone who has more capital can innovate faster than you. And remember, your product can't fail, even if it is a proof of concept, even if it is an MVP, it cannot fail. the margin of error that large companies or established companies have, you don't have that margin of error. Even if that 1/4 of that margin of error is basically, you cannot be in the game. So it's remember this: your product can't fail, and you have to be faster and better than your competition. Otherwise, there are so many established companies. Everyone says that they can do the same thing, at least, and they have relationships into the existing client base. So your client or some client out there is hearing from them. They are not even talking to you. Because they are not even talking to you, you didn't even get an opportunity to position yourself. If you ever got an opportunity to position yourself, you have to prove out that you are faster and better than your competition. If you are not, no one will actually give you a chance. So you cannot fail. You have to be faster, and you have to be better. And one final thing which I cannot highlight: you are always challenged for money. Regardless of how many sales you do, regardless of whether you have like a venture-backed funding, you will be challenged for money. Remember this. Okay, so you will really have to um, do something about it, in the sense that you have to find your game plan of how you manage your money better. That's literally is where um, you are your founder skills are really tested. So your product vision, your product execution, your product sales, and how you manage your money. These four really determine your success. So if you don't have all ability to manage all four, and if you have never had experience running these things, running budgets, running products, running sales, you want to complement yourselves with co-founders who have who have these skills, who have done it in the past. Even if not as an entrepreneur, like probably they would have done, like, were in leadership positions in the organizations, managing budgets, managing portfolios, managing products. If they have those skills, they are very relevant. Um, Now, saying that, happy to take any questions. Let's help each other. Now, we are becoming successful as a company, but saying that, we are not immune to everything. So we have like really good customer base. Uh, we have very trusted clients. In fact, like, we never thought that we will have more success in the fintech space, and we are getting a lot of success there. Um, Saying that, especially in a startup world, you're not immune to everything. So help each other. Happy to coach and guide if you have any questions. But yeah, remember, like, these 5 things: simplicity, manageability, adaptability, resiliency, and tenacity, that represent smart. So you want to be really smart if you want to get into this tech entrepreneur journey. Thank you.
No, that's really great, Chiru. So the chat is open. If you have some questions there, I'll kind of read them out loud for Chiru to answer. They'll also be on the recording that way. Yeah, so we do have one from Christy. How does the new startup address ethical concerns related to AI, such as bias, transparency, and accountability?
Yeah, good question. So in fact, when I basically started this presentation, I spoke about AI with integrity. That was our motto. In fact, integrity really represents that. Um, how can you bring enterprise adoption is, how do you create transparency? Now, how do you create accountability? And how do you manage bias? Uh, I speak to a lot of clients, and especially considering we have done some work on the financial side. Uh, People can't take liberties on the financial numbers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be like really precise on it. Like even a small variation in a decimal makes huge difference, right? So
Yeah.
even there, we have had like highest amount of accuracy, precision, transparency um, in those number managing those numbers with AI, yeah, and especially working with the data. So that's basically there are techniques out there. It's not one technique. There is a combination. In fact, when we started our firm, we looked at about 30 plus variations and techniques that we could bring together to really address some of the concerns around bias, transparency, and accountability. And that's exactly how we literally started as a company. Then what we saw is it's interesting, like you asked this, we wanted to address the concept of integrity, but the companies were not even doing anything with AI. They wanted to first like test out AI before like the whole, looking at like integrity as a core principle, something that's more critical to them. Okay, let's see first, like I have a use case, what can you do about it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's exactly like, then we had to make a shift. Okay, integrity is there, which is great, fantastic. But now, like, how do we really address a use case while maintaining integrity? Right. So that's the shift that we had to make, because like companies were not even yet there in 2023 or 2024, early 2024, to really like, yeah, like they love integrity, but they're not actually willing to do anything for integrity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just alone integrity alone. They want to see first how can you showcase business value for my specific need. That was more a priority to them, right? So yeah, there are a lot of techniques that can be adopted here. Um, when we started itself, we actually read a lot of like research papers. In fact, we got like some PhDs who have got like who have done like some algorithms in this space, and like we pulled everything together to create that, uh, address some of those requirements.
All right. So yeah, hopefully, Christy, hopefully that covers your question. Next question is from Alice, and it's about either expanding a product vision or pivoting. So, at what point do you choose to alter the larger product vision rather than pivoting with the current direction?
Yeah, great question. So I don't think there is a right or a wrong answer. Like that's why the flexibility of like listening to the market and your clients becomes extremely important. The approach that we took is pivot to the needs of the client, uh, while keeping the broader product vision in your mind, right? That's still relevant, but it's not relevant to the degree that you're actually addressing the needs of the client, because they actually tell you how good is your product vision, whether it's even relevant or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's So you want to think about like this way: there is vision, which is basically something in your head, right, which you think is brilliant. Then you have strategy of how you go about that, right, and execution, how you really do it, put it into practice, right? So now when you put it into practice, you realize that probably you need to make adjustments to your strategy and vision. Okay, you can go back and like refine that. So if you're stuck with your vision, then if that doesn't resonate with the market or with the client, then probably like there is a issue here. So especially like it is also an evolving market, and if you think about AI, it's a very evolving market. Like there are so many like different needs and varieties of things that are happening. So your vision that you thought like 3 or 6 months ago, what you think was like the most brilliant thing,
Mm-hmm.
probably like there are 10 companies out there which are already like doing it. Okay, so yeah, and like it's very dynamic. So if you're stuck with that vision, like I don't think we can go too far.
All right. So it's having that flexibility, and I guess it's listening to the customer and then being flexible on, we have this great idea, just tweak it maybe it's not tweaking is the wrong word, but yeah, that's great. All right, scrolling back up to the next one from Armand. Sounds like it's kind of building that top of the funnel of customers. So what's your advice on bringing in new prospects? Any kind of marketing that you'd recommend? Maybe some examples of marketing that Arhasi has done?
Yeah. So I've seen, like, I have like other friends who have also started companies, right? So, and in fact, some of my partner companies as well, they send like these campaigns out. There are LinkedIn campaigns and there are like email campaigns. But remember, right? Like, if I'm like a person, even myself, in fact, I get like emails from like some Romania and like from Ukraine and some Colombia saying that, hey, we have like tech people, like, we can, like, you're a startup, you can use our tech people at low cost. Do you want to basically talk to us about? I just delete those, right? So people are bombarded with a lot of emails, all these things. They, I don't think, like, especially if you're not like some well-known company, like, I mean, even if you're a well-known company, I don't think people will read that full email nowadays anyway. I mean, at least I don't do. I'm thinking others won't read too. So, so now, what is the best way that you can really uh, find prospects? Is cold calling. I mean, I personally did that, cold calling. It's basically reach out to people who you know. When I say who you know, like, who probably your client, maybe 10 years ago, right? Like, so, and reach out to them and then say that, hey, by the way, like, we are doing this awesome thing. Do you want to take a look at it? Yeah, and that's how we actually literally started this. And in fact, like, I can't believe my first client was this person who I worked with 14 years ago. And never expected that. I literally spoke to this person after 14 years. And like, he happens to become our client. Right.
Wow.
So that's how, you keep calling, reaching out, and like, and that's how you build trust. Once you get credibility, you have done like several logos. I mean, we added like 10 plus logos this year. We
Nice.
brand new clients. Right. So then people like start trusting you. Okay, you have something that you can deliver. And even like partnerships, like, we are like an AWS partner, we are a Google partner, but primarily a Google partner. Actually, we don't do much outside of that. Of course, we have partnerships. I don't say we don't, but primarily, very much a Google ecosystem. Now, saying that even partners, they don't pay attention to you. That, like, how many partners would like AWS and Google and Azure would have? 10,000 partners or 15,000 partners?
Yeah, lots of partners.
Yeah, exactly. So even they don't pay attention to you unless like you really go out and make a presence felt for yourself, which basically means the clients are telling them that, hey, like, these, I want to work with these people. Until then, like, they don't pay any attention to you.
Next one from Samina, just to get an idea, because when you think about product, what you're selling, maybe you give an idea of what Arhasi has for products and services can help round out the context of your story.
Yeah, so basically, we have an enterprise agents platform that can automate or improve productivity of business processes. So, and while at the same time, this gives full transparency, bias management, and governance, right? So, if you bring a use case for us, we basically say that in 4 minutes we can prototype a use case. That is our value proposition, right? So, and we can literally make your POC successful in 4 weeks. Prototype in 4 minutes and POC successful in 4 weeks, right? So we haven't gone wrong till date. We have consistently delivered that, and some of the largest enterprise clients too.
So you have a platform for an AI-driven enterprise chat, maybe not enterprise chat, but a chat custom data sources that has the guardrails. You can use it internally or with or the customer could use it with their customers. And it sounds like it's fast time to play around 4 minutes, and then 4 weeks until production. I guess it depends on do you guys host it yourselves or the customer has to host it?
We host, it's available on Google Cloud. It's available on AWS, not in marketplaces yet, but they are available there, like through the VPCs, and then you can easily plug into that. And we also can, a lot of the financial side that we work with, we have basically deployed into their own accounts because they don't want to even do peering, or they don't want to send data out of their environment. So we just push it into their own environment.
All right. Let's see, where do we end up at? So from Umu, what advice would you give on how and where to find the right people for my team? That's important. where should I look for good team members?
Yeah, so a lot of our team members are my ex-coworkers. Okay, who really believed, who wanted to be a part of this journey. Okay, so who are motivated, who are exceptional co-workers that I worked with in the past. So whether it's PwC, Deloitte, Google, they all joined me. So there was this already a trusted relationship that we had, I had with these people. So and they lead things. I don't need to tell them that what they need to do because they were my co-workers and they were exceptional anyway. Like they exactly know what to go about it. But the most important thing is we all align to the same thing. Okay, how do we go about it? So that's the most important thing. So it's ideally you want to actually take people who you know very well, but at the same time you don't want to take those people who just consider this to be like a nice exploratory avenue, who are really serious about it to take this as like their sole opportunity to make a difference.
We have Lamarco. He's a technical founder of a company. Maybe struggles at sales. Any tips on becoming a better salesman?
2 tips. The first tip is find a co-founder who can do sales, or hire a salesperson who can do sales for you. Of course, it comes with budget constraints, right? And then you don't know how well the salesperson does anything, right? You're probably 3-6 months down the line, then you realize that this salesperson doesn't do anything much. That's a challenge. The second tip I would basically say is something that I was told, right? If a lot of people think that they are not good salespeople, okay, this is a question that I asked a long time ago to one of the great sales leaders. I said, is sales something that you can develop, or is something that it's innate in you, you're born with it? Then this person told me that a lot of people don't realize that they are actually good salespeople. It's just when they are put through the right training and exposure, they realize that they are actually good salespeople. And also to sell, you don't need to be be a great salesperson. You know to be able to actually connect to the problem and solve the business problem. In fact, there is also a saying that a lot of introverts actually make good tech salespeople, because people trust tech people than just a salesperson who can talk. Because a tech person, he's passionate about the product, he knows in and out. Okay, he is very proud about the technology, and he can really talk technical stuff to technical people. So people trust that person, and they also know that they can bank on this person, because if I have a problem, he can come and actually roll his sleeves and can actually do the job. So it's not necessary that to be able to sell that there is some sales skills that someone need to learn, but be yourself, try to solve problems, be good technically of what you are, and people start trusting you.
All right, here's one. It's on the financials. Sounds like a lot of our Hasi was maybe bootstrapped from yourself, and you spent time on focusing on delivering good value to your customers and bringing in your money from selling rather than chasing a venture capitalist. And then maybe another way was borrowing money from a bank or somebody. But maybe not from personal experience, from what you've seen, or maybe it's personal. Any ideas on the best way to raise capital for a tech startup?
Yeah. So, there are multiple ways. I'm probably not the most ideal person to talk about that, but saying that, so if you have a good relationship in the VC community, you can tap into capital. Okay, but remember that the moment you tap into the capital, you're giving away your equity very early in the game. And especially if you don't have any market presence, you literally give away 15 to 20% of your equity on day one for very little peanuts of money, which probably won't even last you for few months. Okay, so not the most ideal situation, but people do that. But the other way to do it is, create a market presence, go to the market, be successful in the market, and then raise capital. Yeah, unless you have been a successful tech entrepreneur who has done a $50 million exit in the past, then people will be coming to you and giving you capital to you, very good capital on day one, because you have done it before. It's same as a job, right? If you have done your if you've been X, you get all the opportunities, all new job offers will be same title as X and the same responsibilities. But if you have never done that, it's very hard for companies to give you a chance and hire you. The same thing goes here too. So unless you have done an exit before, a $50 million exit, fantastic. There are people who will come and actually, I see some of my competition, not really exactly a competition, it's blurred, but there are companies out there who some or the other way compete with us, who have got 20, 30, $40 million of VC capital on day one, right? So, well, they get it because they were created by people who have done successful exits in the past, right? So
yeah, so it sounds like if you're really, unless you're connected somehow or shown that you can grow a company and and sell it and exit from it, maybe plan to bootstrap and earn that, keep expenses low, earn by selling, and each sale can lead to the next thing.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. You said you added some big logos, not logos. You added more logos this year. Any of those logos on the Fortune 500 companies list? Just curious about how big of a companies are you able to work with?
Yeah. So we have prominent companies I don't know whether they are Fortune 500. We definitely have a pipeline in those today. We are having active conversations. But some of those things are companies with few thousand people, maybe 5,000 people, 1,000 to 5,000 people companies with some few $100 million of revenues. So $100 to $500 million of revenues. So those are the companies where we started with.
Okay. No, cool. And maybe a couple more questions before we break. Another question from Christy. This is from the Q&A chat. Given the rapid pace of AI development, is it strategically beneficial to pursue patent protection for AI solutions?
Yeah, definitely. So you want to definitely have like right patents in place. But remember, like you cannot patent your whole product. Like, you never see like if you go and check like patents from all these companies,
Hmm.
they don't patent a product. They patent a specific approach within that product.
Hmm.
Right. So for example, yes, we patent like the way we actually do the bias detection and all these things. That's the patent, right? So others may come and claim that, yeah, we also do it, but their approach could be different, right? So that's what you're patenting. You're patenting like your own approach.
And then I have a question. I ask all of our speakers. It's not a technical question. It's kind of a career advice question. And this whole like the whole presentation is kind of a career advice if you want to become a tech entrepreneur. But this was maybe more generic. Maybe we have some young technologists. Sometimes we have some college students that join. But knowing what you know now as a seasoned tech professional, any kind of advice that you'd give maybe to your younger self to kind of give you some sage advice?
Yeah. So I will share my personal experience. This is not the first time that I'm actually doing this, right? In one sense, when I think about it, like when I graduated from school, like I graduated like uh, right after um, 9/11, right? So really bad. So I didn't know what to do. Like there was like no job offers. So I actually started my own company back then.
Hmm.
Right. So and I was literally like I walked into like uh, from company to company, knocked doors and tried to sell my services where I basically said I can create websites for you guys. Yeah, and I did that for about 6 months before I found a job. Right.
Hmm.
And I had like two small clients who gave me a few $1,000s and which was still cool. But mentally I wasn't prepared for that to take that journey. And then my first job actually like I ended up actually creating a cloud computing platform which was sold for like $10 million like right within a year,
Hmm.
right? So the concept of like innovating things, thinking differently, which like cloud in 2005 or 2006 was really new. Only Amazon literally came up with that at the time.
Hmm.
AWS was the first to launch EC2s. And I literally created a cloud computing platform in Australia, right? So which was acquired by one of their largest telcos for that amount. Like of course, like I was working there, so I wasn't really an entrepreneur except that it was my idea and I created that
Hmm.
for the company I worked for, right? So and then like I created like many products. Like I was actually the pioneer of, if you heard of Cloudera, Hadoop.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
there's a product called Cloudera Director. So I actually created that. Okay, I mean, like I was my idea, like I was, I found a need, I brought it to. In fact, there is a GitHub. My GitHub link still is exists, which is called the Foundation for Cloudera Director.
Hmm.
Um, so so always it's been idea about creation of products has always been there. Even in like Deloitte, I created products so that like that could solve some of the business problems for clients. In Deloitte, still uses some of those things right today, right? So in fact, we are a good partners of Deloitte. Okay, so so we have a very good relationship there. So the saying that so that experience and that urge has always been there. So if you are that, there is nothing stopping you from actually embarking on the journey and like try it out. But remember this: it's tech hunger is extremely important, but like entrepreneurship is more than tech hunger.
Hmm.
You really need to like know how do you build teams, how do you manage budgets, how do you build businesses, which over a period of time, like leading products or leading tech, leading groups, teams, you learn in your work experience, right? So uh, there's nothing stopping anyone from becoming exploring that, and you could be very successful. I know some person who actually um, joined PwC when I was there. He was like just graduated, started a company, 6 years, he put his effort, sold it, and then he literally came into PwC. He was like under 30 and a very like leadership role. And he could do it with like very little experience. But he also told me like, and I asked him how did he do it, and he basically said he had a very good team of founders who had a lot of experience, other co-founders, and who helped him, right? So he wasn't just alone there. So he had like very experienced leaders who actually were a part of this whole game plan. So he wasn't alone. So keep that in mind.
Nice. All right. So thank you again, Chiru, for your time and for joining.